The 1986 New York Mets were described by the Daily Beast as a gang of drunks, pill poppers, barroom brawlers, degenerate gamblers, womanizers, and arrogant blowhards. Apart from that, they were lovely. There's actually a book about them because they won the World Series that year. It's by Jeff Pearlman. It's called The Bad Guys Won. And in it, he quotes pitcher Bobby Ojeda, who says, "We were a bunch of vile fuckers." Anyway, as I said, they get to the World Series in 1986, and there's this infamous flight back from Texas after they've reached the World. They've won the National League. And on this flight back, they're in high spirits. There's a food fight. It's all getting quite good fun. They're all absolutely smashed, at which point they start hoovering huge rails of Coke in their seats. Players are walking around naked. Their wives are on board too, and they're getting stuck in. So apparently players are shagging their wives in the toilets. Players are shagging other players' wives in the toilets.
Good family memories.
Yeah. Apparently also some of the wives were getting off with each other, the players said. So carnival atmosphere.
It's kind of like that scene from The Wolf of Wall Street where they're all being debauched.
That's exactly how I picture it.
Yeah.
Yeah, apparently actually some of the wives were puking in the seat pockets as well.
Sort of less aesthetic part of it.
Yeah. Let's get back to the shagging. Anyway, so this wild flight happens. They land in the end, and I think they're hit with something like $30,000 fine. It's just like carnage. Everyone hates them. But to be fair, this is small beer for them because apparently they arrived for every match hungover, and their solution was to get really fucking tweaked on speed pills. So by this point, speed pills are all the rage. They call them greenies. They're green. I guess a bluey is Viagra or Valium or something. I don't know. Anyway, the greenies. One of the players remembered, to pop a greenie was to plug yourself into an electrical outlet. The charge was immediate, and just 2 or 3 tablets lasted 9 innings. Very poetic for a bunch of low-life drug addicts.
Matches the experience that most people have on Adderall. Nice performance in
does it?
Really.
Anyway, so they're all completely hooked on speed, and when they finally win the World Series, it's a proud moment. They're a bunch of bastards, but anyone can appreciate their achievement. And there's this huge parade down Broadway. It's like all of Manhattan's taken over with this celebration, and all the players are there. The proud families. There's only one of them missing. That's Dwight Gooden. He skips the victory parade because he's in the projects on Long Island scoring some more speed. And he says he watches it on his drug dealer's TV. So bleak. So bleak. To be fair, people wonder how that rabble won the World Series, but it's not like they were up against a team of ruthless pros. So their opponents, the Red Sox, were mainly relying on star pitcher Oil Can Boyd. His real name's Dennis, but he drank so much. Apparently, where he was from in the South, they call a beer can an oil can. So he became known as Oil Can Boyd. And he'd always been a massive boozer, but that spring in 1986 in training, he got introduced to crack cocaine and he kicked it up a notch. So he said every single day of that season, he honked on his crack pipe, often smoking right before taking to the field to pitch.
When did they have drug tests in baseball? Because it feels 1986, they should have had it.
But are they mainly just looking for performance enhancers? Is crack a performance enhancer if you're a pitcher? I've never smoked crack, but...
Or pitched.
But I've played rounders. But what you hear is that it gives you obviously this very short, intense burst of energy. So for pitching... I can imagine it giving you an extra 5%. Anyway, they get to that World Series, obviously, against the Mets, and ahead of the decider, Game 7, they're really relying on Oil Can Boyd. They go into the clubhouse and they find him passed out, absolutely hammered. He can't play. So they just lock him in an office and play without him. And he misses that game, and of course, they lose to the Mets. Perhaps that's why. Apparently, he was known for his, quote, intense charisma.
Wonder where he got that from.
It sounds like crack. Apparently, he also used to shout at his glove, which, again...
Probably the crack.
Finally, the following spring, the police do actually catch up with him and arrest him, but it's not for his crack use. So after all that crack smoking and everything, you think it would be for some major drug crime, but actually the police rock up at his place because he's racked up $367 in unpaid Blockbuster fines for failing to return 5 videotapes.
That's like Al Capone getting done for tax fraud, isn't it?
They finally got the crack smoking picture. And actually, the videos, perhaps inevitably, turn out to be porn films. So they released in the press a list of the titles of them. I've got a few of them here. Nudes in Limbo, Sex, etc., and Fists of Fury, which feels a bit more hardcore than the others. Yeah, I guess that's about as hardcore as porn gets, isn't it?
Oh, especially on
Blockbuster.
VHS.
Yeah, cassette. They were cassettes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.